Hello, everyone. Welcome to Crafty Chat episode 26. It is 26, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I saw on the email.
Okay, good. We're back today to talk about cozy crafts. It is the beginning of December where we are in Michigan. So we're gearing up for the holidays and it's finally starting to get cold. There's no snow that has stuck quite yet, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Ready for snow. So we talked about things that we were working on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wearing two things. So I finally finished my cowl.
Which is amazing.
My Ocean Pathways cowl designed by Francois of Aroha Knits. And I love it. It's my first colorwork project. I've been wearing it nonstop when we go out for walks because it's very, very warm. And then the other thing that I'm wearing, I'm actually very hot because I'm wearing a onesie.
You're too cozy.
I'm a little too cozy right now. So I've had this in my to-do list for a long time, but it's a pusheen.
Oh.
Pusheen-a-corn. The fully lined hood, and I have to stand up so you guys can see it. I have a mane and tail.
Oh my goodness.
Tail. So there are just some days, I love onesies because there are just some days when it's snowy outside and I just feel really crappy of like, I just want to be warm. I just want to be cuddled up in flannel and fleece and hide in my gigantic hood with a mug of cocoa and pretend that I'm not an adult. That's what gets me through the really, really cold, dreary days. But I'm going to take this off just a little bit. But this project has been a year-long process.
Oh, wow.
On and off for like a year. So it was a great excuse to finish it.
Yeah, cool.
Are you gonna make one for your partner?
He bought a couple actually. So he has a giraffe and a penguin.
Okay, because I think
they're adorable. And I have another leopard one that I bought several years ago, but the Pusheen one was I drafted the pattern myself. Wow. So it's fully from idea to fabric was entirely my design. There's a lot that's a little weird about it because I don't really know what I'm doing, but it looks great and it's warm and I don't really care. I'm gonna put mittens over the hands with little paw prints. That's the only thing that I haven't done yet to keep my fingers warm because I get really cold fingers in the wintertime. So
yeah, like I was part of one of the Getting Creative With programs and I had made like fingerless arm warmer type gloves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I used them recently. I at one point I took them off and I don't know, they're somewhere like within probably a stack of t-shirts or something right now, so I have to like find them because I'm like, yeah, my hands, I could really use those right now. So
yeah.
Especially because I made them from socks, so they were like thin instead as opposed to like knit.
Oh, I remember those. I was on that episode with you.
Oh yeah, you were. Oh, that's right, because you made the
Which episode was that?
So I can.
Socks. Getting Creative with Socks.
Oh, socks. That makes sense.
So I made a sloth sock monkey, and a wrist pin cushion.
Yes.
Wow. Cool.
The pin cushion looked like a toadstool with little eyes and a little smile. So
that's so cute.
It was amazing. But anyway.
How about you guys? What have you been working on?
See, I didn't know for sure that this was like about what we were working on or just talking about what crafts are cozy, but I mean,
you can do either. There's no rules.
What I have been working on, and I can't, it's too big, of course, to show you, but I'm continuing like this, my granny hexagon.
Oh my gosh, wow. Yeah. So, that's definitely cozy.
Yeah, I've got to do at least 24 more of these squares and then I might call it done, but I don't know. So
wow.
I feel like
I had talked about trying to have this done by the end of the year. So that's why. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna hold to that. I'm plowing through this.
That's okay. I have the this blanket because I was like, oh, this is cozy. That I've been working on for ever.
Ooh, nice.
And I just keep adding to it. But I was like, I should pull that out again and add to it, or is it? Because it's like lap size now, right?
Yeah.
So.
That's so much bigger than the last time I saw it. It looks wonderful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, but I don't know. I gotta find different yarn or something. But yeah, it's like you, Heidi, like maybe it'll be done at that, I don't know. It's one of those things where.
Well, when I realized how long I've been working on this, or I started it back in, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to guess 2008.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
No, maybe. No, I don't think I was married yet. So it would have been before then, because it was when we were living in a different house. Yeah, so I wasn't married yet. So it would have to have been pre-2007, 2006.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And I think I even forgot about it for a while. And yeah, so I don't know why it took so long. I think I got angry at the yarn probably because it's.
I was gonna say, is it the homespun? We finally found it. It was buried. This was my the shawl, the never ending shawl of doom that I gifted my partner with. This is the homespun yarn, and it's 6 feet long. It just lives on the back of this chair.
Oh my gosh.
But it's huge.
And I've made a lot of projects with this yarn. Like I used to use this yarn all the time. Like there's other blankets and things I finished, but it is really annoying because it's, it's like it's like roving with like a thread wrap.
Yeah, it's not consistent. Yeah.
And like it'll get pulled. You have to it gets tight because the thread didn't come through, and so you're like yanking on it all. It's like, oh my god.
It's also impossible for me to tell which is a stitch and which isn't in crochet with that yarn. My brain just doesn't. I can't see it for some reason. It just doesn't work for me. So I can knit with it, but I can't crochet with it. And I love it because it's soft. But yeah, it's a bear to try to crochet with. So.
Yeah, it's warm though, so that's the other bonus. So yeah, it's not something I would like working on in the summer, that's for sure. Especially that kind of yarn. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Now the problem though is because it's like you can see how much it like fuzzes up really easily.
Oh gosh.
To make sure I don't have this stuff laying around because cats and like they can't really eat this. And it kind of like they're trying to and it's getting stuck and it's just like, oh my god, please.
Yeah. My cat tried to eat the plastic needles off of our fake tree. Yes. Because I realized we've had her for a very long time, but when she was living at my mom's, we never had a full-size Christmas tree. So this is the first year that she's seen a Christmas tree. Did not climb in it, which I'm deeply grateful for. But she did try to eat it, and I was like, "You can't eat that. That's not for you." So.
Yeah, Simon likes to chew on like adhesive stuff. Like he finds tape, especially like boxes. If you tape the bottom to like reinforce it, he like goes up and he's like picking at it and just like, stop. Somebody said because there's like animal fats or something used in the adhesive, so maybe that's what he's.
Oh, maybe so.
Oh, maybe yeah.
And it's texture.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
We're not putting up a tree in my. Yeah, we're not even going to try that.
Yeah. We haven't done it yet since we had. Well, last Christmas was the first Christmas with a puppy, so we didn't. And we were thinking about it this year because he's older, but now that we're home, he's just like going through the stage of. I need to be involved in everything you're involved in. So I feel like if we put a Christmas tree out, we're just asking for him to contribute in I don't know what kind of way. So
we tried to mitigate the cat disaster with only putting up the plastic ornaments, not putting ornaments on the bottom two rows of branches, and putting her toys like 5 feet away. So like your toys over here, and then I also hung pine sticks in the tree, and she does not like those. She hates that smell, so she'll stay away.
Oh yeah, that's yesterday I was making orange pomander things for another program, and my dog was so curious about what I was doing the whole time. He's like, I think I need that. I think I need those clothes. I probably need that. But then I made one and I hung it like on a cabinet knob. that's definitely hangs at a height that he can, and he like sniffs it, but he's just like, no, not for me. So it is interesting how the, certain scents.
Yeah.
That's
so maybe that'll
cozy time craft though. I forget about
Yeah.
Yeah.
It smelled so good when I was doing it. Just, I don't know. I love making those because of the smell. So
I bought oranges and I have cloves, and that was one of the things I was intending on doing sometime this week. We went really hard decorating last weekend right after Thanksgiving here in the States, because we didn't decorate at all for Halloween or for Thanksgiving, and we usually do every year. So it's kind of just like really, really in the holiday spirit right after Thanksgiving, and it's like seeing everybody put up their Christmas lights around here and holiday lights was just like, yes, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. So we dug everything out.
I went to the store. What was it last? It was like the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, and it's like all the Christmas lights are gone. And I'm just like, okay, the hardware store, maybe they didn't have a lot in stock. I'll try the craft store. They were pretty much out of everything except for like the clear lights. And it was just like, really?
Yeah.
Why?
I think
like it's never like I often buy my stuff closer to the holiday, and I asked the cashier, I'm like, are you going to get more in, do you think? She's like, well, I don't think so. She's like, why, are we out? And I'm like, yeah. I usually wait until like a week before Christmas to put stuff up, and it's like, where is it all gone? So
I did notice that there were a lot of really great sales for holiday lights this year.
Must have been
around Thanksgiving. And that really surprised me. I tried to buy holiday lights 2 years ago and was even at a 25% off sale. I was like, I can't afford this. This is like super expensive. Because at the time I was just like, I don't have a lot of dispensable income. I can't afford to do this. So I thought over the next couple of years, I'll buy a couple sets. And I bought a small set this year of LED rainbow lights, because all I have are clear lights that are hand-me-downs. And I love them, and they're really pretty. It was just like, I can only do a couple of these sets at a time because they're so expensive. But that may be why they're out, because they were running a lot of sales. So.
Yeah, maybe. They are expensive. And those LED ones are pricey, but I've had those and they do tend to last more. It's so annoying, isn't it? Like you have these strands that like, they were fine. All you did was unplug it and move it to another location, and it's like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Now I gotta recycle. Ugh, it's such a mess. Anyways, that's not a place we need to go. Lucy, what are your cozy crafts?
Well, I did just finish a hat, which I'm not crazy about. I was doing this color work and I like that, but the pattern was really weird and small and kind of long. So I put a pom-pom on the end. I need to finish it. So I don't know, it's warm. And then I'm working on a cowl that I was doing one. It's called the Cherub Cowl, and I was doing it as part of a knit along for with Spun. And I finished the one with the yarn they sent me, and it was kind of a practice run. I feel like there were places where I kind of messed up, and then I didn't really understand the binding off technique. But it's like on the bias. I don't know if you can see. You like slip it over.
Those are really popular right now for knitwear designers. There's a lot of them. This one I kind of messed up binding it off, so I'm doing it again in this yarn. That's pretty.
Wow, nice.
Because it's actually a great pattern, and I think it will be really cozy because it's like loose, but there's a lot of it, and so that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, there's that like bandana cowl with a point on it is I can think of like 4 patterns off the top of my head that are that shape. They're really, really popular right now in the knitwear design realm of the internet. But I've got a couple that I was like, I really want to do those.
Yeah, this one's really easy. It's just like it was a stretchy bind off that I haven't done before, and so I think I kind of messed that up. But I'm trying to look at that one as like, and there's a couple places where I wasn't paying attention, and it was too hard to. It's hard to tink something where you've done like a slip knit, and then so I tried to like watch videos and figure out how to do that, but I'm kind of looking at that first one as like I was teaching myself not how to do that, but like I taught myself how to do the bind off, and so that's new for me to try and like just knit something and be like, maybe I don't love what I made, but it was it was like the learning or the, you know.
Yeah.
I
That's kind of how I felt about this cowl that I'm working on, because one section of the color work is really tight and you can see a drastic difference in size between where I started and where I ended. Because it's you can see the difference, and that's folded in half. But it was just like looking at it, like I know that it's wrong and I know that it's puckered and it's not like a perfect piece of color work, but it's just I love the finished product so much and I wanted to work through the whole project. Like I'm not ripping it out and redoing it. Like I'm not.
Yeah. I think there has to be, I'm trying to give myself that space and patience to be like, I'm learning this. Doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to put it down because I messed up and I don't feel like fixing it. You know, like I feel like there's a lot of things where I almost finished them, but there's some mistakes in there that I don't like. So I'm like, meh.
Well, yeah, that's why I totally tore out my Bella shawl all the way back to the beginning, because I was like, this is just too wrong.
Oh,
you know,
and those are hard. Like it's hard to tear that out. Not bad. Like it's weird with that lace, you know.
Yeah, well, I think I'm getting pretty good at that tinking with lace, because like you're talking about slip.
Yeah.
Because the one I'm working on right now, for some reason, there's a section that you repeat like 5 times at least. And I think I'm on the last repeat of it, and I have been messing it up like 3 times in a row. I've had to like take it out, and I'm like, so now I'm putting a lifeline in after every because like the wrong side row is just a purl, you know. So I'm just like after every row, I'm like putting a line in because I keep screwing something up where I get distracted, where I forgot to do 1 yarn over, and then the whole count is off, and it's lace, so it's like you can't.
Yeah, you really can notice on that one.
Yeah. That's why the Find Your Fade shawl has been a 2-year-long process for me. I'm so close to finishing the 3rd section of lace to be able to finally get out of this 3rd color that I'm so tired of. And I keep screwing it up every single row. And it's so frustrating, of the point of just like, I cannot wait to be done with this project. I'm glad that it's a gift because I never want to see it again after I'm finished with it.
That's why I have a half of a Find Your Fade shawl in my
it's
in the trunk. It's been there for like 2 years because I
I just feel like it should be so easy because it's like
it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. It's a honeycomb, like hexagon lace pattern and garter stitch. How complicated can it be? Am I just like zoning out really heavily?
That's what happens to me, is I'll zone out, I'll mess up somewhere, and I won't notice it till I'm like a row or 2 ahead. And then that's where I'm like, I didn't put in a lifeline, so I can't. It's too much backwards.
I feel like it would be easier if it didn't have that that Passover slip stitch in the middle.
That's what this one has too. And so that's where with that, it has, let me see if I can find it. You slip 2 as if you're knitting them.
Yep.
Then you knit 1 and then you pull the 2 over it.
2 over.
Yeah. So I think it's the same as the Find Your Fade. And that one, trying to undo that when you've messed up a couple rows back, it just was starting to hurt my head. I was like, wait,
yeah, that's just, I don't know. I realized after I got to the second to the last row of the last section of lace, and I messed up, and I just laid down. I was like, I can't. I'm going to bed.
The problem is sometimes it's hard to let go, and it gets in your brain. I'll wake up in the morning and it's like the first thing I need to do is like try and fix that. Or
I just want to burn it sometimes. I just get so frustrated. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna go work on something easy now. This is why I have socks, apparently. Socks are easier for me than this stinking shawl, but no, it'll get done eventually. But not today. So yeah. The other thing that I've been working on to change gears entirely is a couple years ago I decided that I didn't want to use wrapping paper anymore for holiday presents. So I started making fabric gift bags.
That's so cool.
There's a little itty bitty kitty one, and then I've got really big ones. So they're just like really big.
That's great.
And these look so cool under the tree. I was really happy with them. Last year was the first year that I actually got to use them. And I was so excited about it. I like
that idea.
That's a way better idea. Yeah, they do look nicer, and it's easier to wrap, and you're not like contributing to all that waste with all the tape.
Yeah.
I
And it's almost like you're giving two gifts too, because you've given, I mean, you know, like
you're like, no, I'm gonna need that back.
Yeah, so I was like, wait, are you asking for them back or are you giving them?
Yeah.
Because
my mom got mad at me last year because she's like, well, how am I supposed to take all my gifts home? I was like, you were supposed to have brought a tote bag because I warned you in advance. So she was teasing me about it later of like, that was really mean. I wanted to keep it. And I'm like, okay, well, you can take it home with you, but I need it back. And she did get it back to me. But it was something where I'm a little more prepared this year. So if I run into that, I have bags that like, yeah, you can take these home with you. But my mother-in-law actually got me in the habit of giving bags and stuff back and boxes back to the person who gifted them to you so that they can be reused. She reuses everything. She's really thrifty with gift packaging, and that I really admired. So that's kind of what inspired this. The fabric stuff was like, I love that you reuse things so much, like not the wrapping paper and tissue, but like boxes, tins, bags, that kind of stuff. So
well, the other thing that's nice about a bag like that, it's good for like those awkward shaped gifts, like a golf club. Because I remember my parents trying to wrap that for our nephew, and it was just kind of like, it was a little bit obvious what it was going to be,
Yeah, over the year with kids, there's been so many weird things that are just like frustrating to wrap. And
I'm also enormously entertained by the pictures and videos I see online after the holidays of people that have like wrapped an iPhone like a guitar, or like the box or the package looks completely different from what's actually in the package. Those I think are funny and kind of a little bit in good fun. But I'm excited to wrap presents. That's one of my favorite parts about the holidays is wrapping presents.
So I was just glancing over at my notes that we were going to plug the arm and arm knitting and finger knitting.
There's finger knitting,
But I was also, because I was thinking about, there were a couple programs recently on AADL TV for the arm knitting, making a blanket, and I think making a pillow as well. So we'll definitely link those in the bottom. Those are cozy crafts that are definitely accessible to, a beginner. So, and you don't need more than arms and some yarn.
Yeah, there's a finger knit hats one that's right, this week, but then you can always go back and watch it. So.
I actually haven't been on the YouTube channel in a while to check out what's on there. I know that I was looking forward to a couple of coworkers programs this week and next week. So I had a couple things we were looking forward. Somebody that we're going to have as a guest later on in the show, which we're very excited about. So we'll plug that later in the next episode when she's on, but because it's a surprise.
Yeah.
Or I like to keep this stuff a surprise. So. But yeah. I don't know. It's looking forward for December and for early in the year is I'm going to do a bunch more baking. I've had really good luck lately with making bread. So I've been making bread quite a bit. My sourdough starter died. I have to make a new one. He didn't survive the week of Thanksgiving that I wasn't there to feed him.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah. I've heard because you can usually put them in the fridge to kind of slow it down and then bring it out, but it just didn't come back.
I did. He had a lot of what most folks on the site call hooch. It's the liquid that forms on top of a sourdough starter when it doesn't have enough to eat. And I fed it twice over a 3-day period, I think, which was not quite as much as you're supposed to when you're trying to bring it back, but I wasn't going to be baking bread right away, so I didn't want it to like really start growing. And he'd been really aggressive before Thanksgiving. Like he grew really fast. So he'd fully like double within 4 hours. And I was just like, whoa, okay, slow down there, buddy. But he would only, maybe get a third bigger, and then it would, over the next couple hours, it'd just be more of the hooch on top, more of the liquid on top. So just kind of like, maybe it's just he's not doing all that hot. But I have plenty of rye flour and stuff to make another starter, so I'm not worried about that. But it's the time, because, going through the whole process of like discarding half the starter and then putting more stuff in. It's a 15-20 minute process every time you do it, and it's kind of just a little tedious, but it is really satisfying to watch it grow.
Mm-hmm.
More so than I think kombucha, because kombucha, I've brewed kombucha before too, and kombucha is a lot slower.
Yeah.
So the sourdough growing so fast is very satisfying. Of like, it's actually alive. That's, I don't know. I get pretty geeked about that. But then lots of cookies. I did pies over Thanksgiving, which is a yearly tradition for me. And then can't remember. We were planning on doing something early in like February-ish. Kind of situation like given with everything that's going on with the pandemic and stuff, of my mom and my aunt and I were going to get together and bake cookies in February. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing if that's going to pan out. But
yeah, I'm kind of thinking about, and last time I remember I made some cookies and we had too many, so I froze them. So that's, fine, even though I had some people to give them to, but I think that's what I might do this year. I'm kind of tempted. I like making sugar cookies. I have these cookie cutters that are the Peanuts gang.
oh gosh,
they're just super adorable, and they're pretty big too. But I always love those, and then having the egg yolk that you paint, you color and you paint them with, and yeah. So I've been missing those. I haven't made those for a couple years, so I might do that.
Yeah, I do a lot of baking without eggs because my partner is really allergic. So that's a lot of my baking is fun experiments of what egg substitutes are going to work. So I feel like I actually this year have a handle on what cookie substitutes for egg actually work. So I've got 4 or 5 different types of cookies planned, between like chocolate chips, snickerdoodles. We make the chocolate peanut butter ones every year that my brother loves. And then I like almond flavored spritz cookies. It's a German style butter cookie.
Yeah.
That you make with a cookie press.
Yep.
And I finally have
I used to make those with my mom, and I've done it with my kids.
It's really
so fun.
What do you use for your because when I've done eggless baking or vegan baking, I used chia seeds usually for my egg when I was doing cakes. But what does it depend on the cookie? Like what you use for an egg replacer?
Cookies generally, it's what's worked well for me is more butter and more flour. So that's worked the best for cookies. And some milk works really well. And it's really for like breads, and cake is still something that I haven't quite been able to get. I use flaxseed for almost every type of cookie baking that is not a cake or a cookie. So like quick breads, muffins, a lot of stuff like that. That can be a little bit denser but spongy. I really like the flaxseed, and I think it retains a lot of moisture really well, and I like the texture. Or pure fruit purees like mashed bananas or applesauce or things like that work really, really well in like quick breads and muffins. I have used also a cornstarch flour in cakes. And the only downside to that is the cake doesn't want to stay together. It wants to crumble. So it's very light and fluffy. It does not want to hold together to save its life. So it would be great for cake pops if you're just going to be crumbling the cake anyways.
Right.
But it's not great for just normal cakes. I've had better fruit stuff.
Have you ever done anything with Aquafaba?
I haven't, but we've had coworkers that have talked about doing Aquafaba marshmallows. I almost said mushrooms.
Yeah.
Or the
meringues. Yeah.
Meringue.
Yeah, I want to do meringues because I love meringue, and I love like egg whites whipped into desserts and stuff. I've been able to use Cool Whip a lot for that, and making my own whipped cream, which is only time consuming. It's not hard. It's just time consuming.
Yeah, no, it's great. Makes such.
I do that a lot.
We did that over Thanksgiving, and I had like a pint of it too, so because it was the only size I could get, and so we had a lot left over. So I'm like really a fan of that in coffee.
I was say it's really good, in coffee and
of Aquafaba and coffee.
No. Cream. I'm sorry.
Whipped cream. Okay, I was gonna say.
I totally just like went off and.
No, it's fine.
I'm busy thinking about whipped cream right now.
I've been putting sweetened condensed milk in my coffee.
Oh God, yeah, that'd be so great.
It's so good, and it's even better in tea.
Yeah, I was gonna say tea. I feel like when I've read like historical fiction, they're often, that's how they're having their tea.
Yeah.
Like bread that they dip into it. And it's like, yeah, sounds great. Sounds so amazing.
That sounds very cozy.
It does.
I think we all have to go do that now.
Well, it's also just like I'm all tea and coffee all the time now.
Yeah.
So it's like that's another cozy thing for me, is just like there's a pot of water on all day for us here. Just between tea and like broth or just other warm things, because we're both constantly cold all the time. So it's been nice to have that. And then like the baking that I've been doing and the pine tree is just like, it feels like winter and I love it. I'm so excited. I'm just very happy of like, it feels cozy in a way that it didn't, 2 weeks ago. So
somebody told me that push-ups are a great way to warm up. I was like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
but not so cozy.
No.
No.
Do I want to exert myself though? That's
back bends actually are good for warming up the body, but
back bends, yeah.
You gotta have to be careful. If you're not warmed up, you know, only a little bit. But yeah, it definitely does get the heart rate up and the circulation. But I'm like, yeah, I might do a couple planks, but push-ups, oh God.
I hate sit-ups even more. Those are the ones that are in the nightmare for me.
I probably should do them though.
What I really love is I got a weighted blanket. I had a small weighted blanket, and when there was a big sale, I don't know, I convinced my husband, I was like, I need this for a lot of reasons, this big full-size weighted blanket. It's cozy. It's also just very calming. It doesn't do the same thing as push-ups or back bends, but
right. We did,
but it helps me in other ways. I love it.
I did buy a weighted blanket. I bought a 20-pound weighted blanket for both of us to try. It's 10% of both of our body weights, and we both hated it. So it was just too heavy. That experience for us was like, okay, maybe try something that's like half the weight of that. So but I bought, the one that I bought was glass beads and not poly beads, not the plastic ones, because they run cooler, and with blankets at night we run hot.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get something that was going to be too suffocating, and it was just like that 20 pounds is it. When you pick it up, it feels like more than.
Oh, I know. You pick it up to like fold it, and you're like, that's like a push up. You pick up the weighted blanket and fold it, and it's like, oh. Yeah.
So I want to find another glass bead one that's maybe like 10 or 12 pounds to see if maybe that'll be better for both of us. Yeah. But yeah, it's just something to try. And I found a good sale over the weekend, so it was good. But yeah.
Hey, so I also have a note. There was something about TikTok on here, and I don't know what. It was something you said, Nancy, and maybe you don't remember now.
I do. Okay, so
I just want to say, like, I was like, I don't even know what TikTok really is. So I'm gonna go.
What's the TikTok again?
And then there was this, like, in my Facebook feed, somebody posted something like from My Korean Dad, and I'm like, this guy is just adorable, and it's a TikTok thing. So I'm like, okay, so I go and I like make an account, and I'm like, I still don't understand how you use, like, how do I follow people? Like, there's no way to search. Is what I'm trying to
if you want me to show you through the TikTok, I will do that for you.
Tutorial. It's like,
that's the next episode of Crafty Chat.
I fully recognize that I'm too old to be on TikTok. Like I've run into a lot of jokes about that, of like, TikTok's meant for like, teenagers, early 20s. I'm in my early 30s. Like I may be a little outside of the demographic for this, but I was obsessed with Vine when Vine was a thing. And it was like an app where you'd only do 6-second videos. And it was hilarious, like a lot of the stuff that people come up with. So TikTok is a slightly longer version of that. So it appeals to that humor and comedy that I love. But the thing that I found on TikTok that blew me away was like the crochet and knitting community on TikTok. Is there's a ton of like, and bakers and cooks too.
Yeah, a lot of baking. And it's really cool to see how folks are framing their projects and showing like the different steps of how they do things and just how gorgeous
their filming process is, like just how really, really cool that comes out, and how succinctly they can show how you do something within like a 30-second period, like giving that much information in such a small bite of time impresses me endlessly, because it's just, I know how hard that is to do. But yeah, that's my thing on TikTok, is mostly crafting stuff, as it is on YouTube, because it's all I watch on YouTube. But no, that was why I brought that up, was those videos and stuff. There are compilations of those on YouTube, which can be fun to see and a little bit longer, and it's easier to find. But I think I have my phone with me. I was gonna see if I could try to find a way to tell you how to find something on TikTok.
Well, and maybe I was on my laptop, so maybe I should be using.
Oh, it doesn't work on a computer.
Yeah.
Like it.
That might be. I was starting to realize that later. I'm like, well, probably, yeah. This is meant for phones, and
it is fully meant for mobile devices. It is not meant for a computer. There is a Discover.
Now I feel more
where you can search, so you can.
Okay, cool.
I hate it when people do that on podcasts. Oh, I'm gonna put my phone up to my computer camera. No, I'm not gonna do that because it drives me crazy. But on the bottom of the app, there's a Discover magnifying glass, and you can search by tag or by people. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's much like Instagram in that way.
Cool. I just did a Google. Find your Korean dad, so I just Googled, and then I found it, and then I was able to, but
that is, I get a weird amount of joy out of going to my younger cousins and saying to them, like, putting the in front of.
Oh, I love to do that to my kids. Yeah.
So funny, because they just like, they get so upset of like, no, that's not what it is. Oh my God. I'm like, no, I know that's not what it is, but your reaction is amazing.
Like, are you on the Snapchat again? Is that?
Gather round. There's a comedian, Eliza Schlesinger, that does that bit of like, gather round the Snapchat children. I don't know. I found that very funny, but yeah. I think that's all we had to talk about today. We're kind of all over the place, but it's in a very fun way, I hope. So thank you everyone for joining us today for today's episode of Crafty Chat. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a special guest, our coworker Amy, to talk about her astronomy photography and doing photography at night. So I'm very excited to have her on, because I think that her work is really cool. So we will see you in 2 weeks. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and don't forget to love each other. Bye, y'all.